Blah 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 blah. Death, blah 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 blah
Same
blah
old
blah
junk.
blah.
Why isn't there anything else except for doom and gloom in the 21st century? Well, it's not our job to care. Our job is to archive these images and videos. Well, I mean, why can't we just have a quantum computer do this job? This is our job! Archiving images and videos in nanoseconds. Currently, we are wasting our precious time complaining. I mean, yeah, we all get used to it. This is the last one in the file. We'll be free soon. Hopefully.
Madagascar is an island country lying off the southeastern coast of Africa. At 592,800 square kilometers, Madagascar is the fourth largest island in the world, after Greenland, New Guinea, and Borneo. In 2020, the population of Madagascar reached a number of 27,691,019. At $495.49 of GDP per capita, it is almost close to living at $1 per day. The HDI of the country is 0.521, standing at 164 out of 189 countries and territories.
Poverty in Madagascar is a huge issue, which warranted this video to be created. Now, in order to find a solution and a reason why this is happening, we need to first look through the statistics of Madagascar throughout analyzing the geographics, the economics, and the politics. And so with this, we have to first start off with the very basics when you're trying to find out why a country is in poverty. Finding out how many people are in poverty. Well, for the way that we can do this is by using a method called the poverty headcount ratio. You may be asking, what is the poverty headcount ratio? Well, in basic terms, it's pretend a person has a regular salary. Anyone below that regular salary is considered in poverty. And so, with this, the Madagascar is 75% of the population is in poverty. That's 21 million people in poverty. Could you imagine that? Now, after we have done this simple step, it's time to move on to one of our main chapters, the geographic side of Madagascar.
Disclaimer: the information used is from 2017. Madagascar's geographical location allows there to be a vast amount of climate subdivisions. The coast is hot and tropical, and the east receives the most amount of rain. This is due to the effect of the moisture trade winds from the Indian Ocean as they encounter Madagascar's coast. This also means that the east coast is also affected by cyclones. Going into the resources of the island, about 71% of the island is agricultural and the rest of the 21% is forest. Keep this in mind as we will require this information later on in our video. The mining resources on Madagascar are graphite, chromite, coal, bauxite, salt, quartz, tar sands, some semi-precious stones, mica, fish, and hydropower. Disclaimer: the source used in this is from 2018. For Madagascar, it's like other African nations where you grow food for yourself, and if you have any extra, you can sell it. So there isn't much of a need to buy extra unless you absolutely needed it. And so this is the whole reason why an average wedge in Madagascar is worth less than a US dollar. But some farms produce vanilla, which is what Madagascar heavily relies on as they are the main export of vanilla. It also exports a lot of other items that it relies on, such as coffee, cloves, cocoa, and beans. With special species like the lemur, Madagascar also has an ecotourism market. Other than that, ilmenite can be found in Madagascar. The mining of ilmenite is a mineral that can be used in printer inks, paints, cosmetics, paper, and plastics. And so with this, there has been major investments into ilmenite mining. Disclaimer: the information used in this is from 2012. Just like some African regimes, Madagascar was a communist-leaning country from the 1960s to the 1980s. The reason it did not stay communist was that during the 1980s, the Soviets were collapsing. Because of that, they couldn't give any more support to foreign nations. At this time, Madagascar also created a new constitution with a new government via elections. Madagascar's poverty, student unrest, and strikes were helped out by a small amount thanks to this. Didier Ratsiraka, a former military leader who won the election, vowed to uphold the basics of democracy but actually attempted to centralize power so he could have more political power like a dictator, giving him over a third of all Senate seats. In 2002, Ratsiraka's opposition grew, who rallied to the reform message of the businessman Mark Ravalomanana and his part of TIM. He faced a bitterly contested presidential election and eventually he won the vote, with Ratsiraka refusing the fact that his opponents won, so he did a very childish act. He cut communications, roads, and bridges, leaving the capital on its own without any access to the sea or any resources. In December 2002, with widespread job loss and malnutrition, Ratsiraka was charged with corruption and abuse of governmental powers. And so the cycle goes on as this exact thing happens yet again in 2007.
Our first step in achieving this goal is to elect a political leader that most of the country can agree with. The reasoning behind this decision is because Madagascar suffers from political instability as seen earlier on in the video. Our next step is to get a loan to get enough money to buy mining tools to go and start mining graphite. The reason we need to start mining graphite is because graphite can be used in batteries and the realm of technology, and so it would sell higher than vanilla sells. After graphite mining has stabilized the economy a bit more, they could start investing into higher education so that the students could start their own businesses and such, and into housing so that the miners could have a place to sleep at night. Next, they could start investing into hydropower, as hydropower would be a good place for investors to spend their money in, as it's clean energy. And they could start importing steel into their own country to improve the designs of their mines so they don't collapse, and so that they could improve the architectural designs of their houses. And so this is our solution.